All right, we'll just watch this stuff.
And funding, if you were...
I would sit down. Let me just put it a nicer way. If I'm president, I will have that war settled in one day, 24 hours.
No, I would like to set a goal on a personal level and professional level. I would say let's set it at 100 days and move our way back and figure a way we can do this in the near term to make sure that this solution is solid, it's sustainable.
Well, that gentleman that you just heard from is President-elect Donald Trump's nominee for special envoy to Russia and Ukraine. His name is Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg. And as you could hear, I mean, he's kind of throwing cold water on the notion that the war in Ukraine will end on day one of Trump's second term. But to be fair, Trump has also lowered expectations as it pertains to ending the war in Ukraine. And we're going to get to his, lowering of expectations and what he has said in recent months in just a moment. But before we get to that, it is important to understand that, Donald Trump tends to make all these declarative statements about the amazing things he's going to do on day one. Then he tends to walk it back. So as Fox News reports at a Mar-a-Lago news conference on Tuesday, Trump said he knows Putin would like to meet with him, but believes such a meeting would be inappropriate until he's officially sworn in as president on Inauguration Day on January 20th. I mean, he has met with other foreign leaders, or he's had phone calls with other foreign leaders, namely Benjamin Netanyahu. But nonetheless, he added that he'd like to see the fighting come to an end within 6 months. So, Jake, you had day one, then you have Trump now saying.
It's almost like here's something that's like so funny about these people is they say politicians lie, politicians lie, politicians lie, politicians lie. There's nothing good about a politician. They're all blood-sucking vampires that are raping children and drinking their blood. But the second Donald Trump says something, it's automatically truth. And every single time that he changes his mind on something, well, he wasn't lying to us before. There's just a new truth thing that he's saying. Like, it's just so funny. Nobody thought that he was going to be able to, unless he said, we're not going to. Oh, I forgot to pick my Pokemon. I'm getting Cyndaquil. Hell yeah. But yeah, like, what was I saying? There was the fact that he lies and backtracks and stuff like that. Oh, the only way that he was going to be able to end this conflict on day one is how? If he completely sold out, Ukraine, if he stopped sending them supplies, if he stopped supporting them in any way, shape, or form. The second that the aid to Ukraine dries up, then yeah, he would be ending this war. I guess at least some of the people in his orbit have a quarter of a brain, and they talked him out of just like selling them out, right? I guess Zelensky was able to, lick his ear enough to make him feel like he was special, and that he's going to work with Zelensky for the time being until I guess he talks to Putin, and then Putin's going to sweet talk him. But we'll see how it goes. I am cautiously optimistic. I think that there's as equal a possibility that Trump tries to, show I'm Mr. Strongman. I'm not going to let Putin, push me around, right? I'm strong against Russia and I'm strong against China. I'm strong against everyone because I'm Trump and I have a big. There's equally a possibility of that as him like totally cucking to Putin because they have a friendly relationship. But I'm cautiously optimistic about it.
Months. Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg saying 100 days, nice little compromise between Trump from several months ago, or I should say several years ago, because it was in 2023, versus Trump today.
Yeah, I mean, look, Trump is in a lot of ways a standard politician, but he's smart enough to play an authentic populist, which he's not. So, but look, I don't know. He's kind of an old school politician in promising the moon in the sky, and it's annoying to me.
Mr. Jake, he promised that he was going to cut the defense spending And you were tongue on balls the second that Elon said that that might be a good idea. All right. Don't pretend like you don't like Trump or that you like that he's your enemy, because you already said MAGA is not your enemy. Ha, the establishment is your enemy, even though, you know, Trump is like definitionally the establishment. It's insane that he's gonna like pretend like he's against anything that Trump says now.
Me, because I know he's not going to do that stuff, but apparently it's good strategy because his voters believed him. But really, on day one, I mean, there's the only way you could resolve it on day one is if you go to Ukraine and say, we're pulling all your funding, surrender the territories that Russia is in right now immediately. Right?
Yeah.
That's the only way to end it on day one. And even then it would take some time, right? And even then the Ukrainians would push back and go, no, we don't want to give up all of our territory. Not all of it, but all the ones that the Russians occupy. So it was an absurd, nonsensical thing to say in the first place. But ironically, I would say the Democrats should have had enough sense to make other promises that were a little bit more realistic, but at least ones that the American people supported. So I'm curious to see if MAGA is really believed he was going to do it on day one. But then oftentimes they do have excuses, and sometimes it's legitimate. A lot of them say, look, I know he's full of crap, and I know he's not going to get it done on day one. I just hope he gets it done in 6 months. And if that's your belief, okay, I think that's fair.
So before we get to what I think is going to happen and what Trump is likely to do, I do want to give you one more comment that Trump made. This is on December 16th. Trump is talking about ending foreign wars. He did talk about the war in Gaza, but he also talked about Ukraine. Take a look.
I think we're going to be in a good place in the Middle East. I think the Middle East will be in a good place. I think actually more difficult is going to be the Russia-Ukraine situation. I see that as more difficult. When you say I don't think they should have allowed missiles to be shot 200 miles into Russia. I think that was a bad thing.
What a retarded fucking
that brought
thing to
the
say.
Koreans in, North Korea.
Time moves in one direction. Us letting them shoot missiles into Russia happened because there were Koreans like entering the fray. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, well, they only let the Koreans in because we started shooting missiles. No. The Koreans happened before. Time moves in one direction. What is wrong with you? Are you insane? Oh shit, I forgot. I was supposed to start the short stream. Where is OBS? Oh shit, I'm not even visible on the short stream. God damn. 1 second. There we go. How many edibles deep today? None. I think I'm out of edibles. This is just raw dog me. No ADD medicine. Nothing. Which is why I'm not really doing anything, taking streaming too seriously until I get my medicine, because I do not want to be, I do not like streaming off my medication, but if I can just like sit here and chill and play a video game, then that's what we're going to do. I will say this, I do have an, tentatively, and I say tentatively because I will not do this debate if people do not communicate within the next couple of hours. Yeah, I have a debate with a WIC panelist set up for Monday. So that might happen, depending. Let me see here. We're all set up on the short stream. Yes, we are. I haven't accidentally destroyed my normal YouTube stream. Cool. All right, let's keep going. Let's go back just a little bit.
To be shot. I see that as more difficult. When you say I don't think they should have allowed missiles to be shot 200 miles into Russia. I think that was a bad thing. And that brought the Koreans in, North Korea.
So already on December 16th, he was kind of lowering expectations, but also kind of casting some blame.
That he's, oh, hold on. I might be getting a call that I need to answer. 1 second. Hello? There it is. Alrighty. Pollsters trying to get my information. You. I just want to know, are these people going to call out the fact that he said that they brought in Koreans to defend against the missiles that we're allowing Ukraine to shoot into Russia? Because again, that happened in response to the Koreans being deployed. That happened in response. It was the other way around. We are letting them respond to the constant escalations from Russia. Russia has escalated every part of this war from the invasion to today. All right? Don't say that like, oh, well, we let them shoot missiles, therefore they had to ask for reinforcements. It's Russia. They're the ones that are the aggressors. They're the ones that are the escalators.
That brought the Koreans in, North Korea.
Call it
so
out,
already
please.
on December 16th, he was kind of lowering expectations, but also kind of passing some blame to the Biden administration for supplying Ukraine with these rockets, which they then used to, fire into Russia. And so he's arguing, well, now the war is a little more complicated, a little more difficult to deal with, especially with the involvement of North Korea. But a month prior to that, on November 7th, the Kremlin had already been shutting down Donald Trump's alleged ability to end the war quickly. Dmitry Peskov, who is the Kremlin's press secretary, says, of course, it was a bit of an exaggeration when he said he would do it overnight. If the new administration seeks peace rather than continued conflict.
A bit of an exaggeration is doing a lot of legwork, because literally everything that comes out of this subhuman lizard brain freak's mouth is a exaggeration. How are we supposed to know what is a joke, what is supposed to be real? He's the president of the United States. Speak clearly. Do not speak in code and in rhyme and in poems or in jokes or in anything else. All right. Tell the American people what you expect to do and what you expect to do it by. Even if you're not going to be able to accomplish it, say what you're going to try to do. Don't give us an exaggerated like piece of shit lie that you're not going to be able to accomplish. I don't know. Like, you can't blame the Democrats on not being able to, like, if you wanted to do it like, oh, well, I want to get this done within the first 100 days. And if I don't get it passed within that first 100 days, it's going to be the Democrats' fault. He could have done something like that. But instead, what the f does he do? What if he's, it's, maybe it's a little bit more complicated. He didn't even like use this to attack the Democrats. He's just a who didn't know that he couldn't control the entire world. Like he's the puppet master marionetting every other country in the world. It turns out maybe international relations are a little bit more complex than America says something and then everybody else does it. All right. Maybe things are a little bit more complicated than that. Now, that's not to say that we don't have a massive amount of influence, but it's also not to say that people can't ignore us if they wanted to, Hey, now watch how you talk about your president. If you listen, Zolo, I'm pretty sure you're a conservative. If your side can sit there and like make images of like Joe Biden bound and gagged in the back of their trucks, if they can like be making hit lists for every single Democratic politician and their families, if they can do shit like that, I can say that the president of the United States, Donald Trump, is a moronic. Okay. Wait, what did I just pressed? Oh, okay. I miss playing this on emulators because, oh my God, you can move so fast. You can move so fast, but there's no speed up button. Oh wait, I did want to go to the options and change the text speed to fast. Battle scene on. I'll put it on set. Actually, no, that's not the point of this shift. Yeah. Oh, we're customizing our game now, boys. I think I like that one. Now. Now we got it. You're talking to the guy trolling after a wildfire. Wait, is Donald Trump spreading conspiracy theories? I've been a little bit disconnected, okay? I've been a little bit disconnected. Just because I think you guys can probably guess why I'm a little bit disconnected.
It will be better than the previous one. And as for Putin, the Russian president did not comment to anything regarding the war in Ukraine or ending it quickly, stating, I do not know what is going to happen now. I have no clue. Very inspiring words. Now, look, in regard to MAGA and what I think how they are likely to respond, it really depends on whether or not Donald Trump is willing to pull military funding from Ukraine. That's what they care about. They don't want to see resources go toward foreign wars when things are falling apart here in the United States. That's their argument. They're not as concerned with the geopolitical ramifications of Russia taking land from Ukraine. So as long as Donald Trump follows through with his promises to stop funding that war, I think MAGA will be fine with him. I don't think anyone genuinely, sincerely thought Trump is going to snap his fingers and end this massive multi-year war on day one. What people want is for the United States government to stop funding these wars. So I think, I don't know if Trump is.
The United States, if we're going to be the most powerful fucking country in the world, we have a responsibility to, try and help keep peace. We didn't start the war in Russia and Ukraine, all right? We didn't start that war, all right? We're helping someone defend themselves, okay? Which I think is like possibly the best use, like the most moral use of military aid like possible. We're not sending it to the Taliban because of some, Machiavellian thing like, oh, well, they're our allies today, and then in, 3 years after they kill some like smaller terrorist organization, we're going to go in and we're going to, fry them all with microwave, high-tech military blasts, right? This is, hey, we've been working with these guys for a long time, for the past, since what, 2013 or 2014, right? And probably a little bit before that to a lesser degree, right? We've been working with these guys for like more than 10 years. We've had good relations with their presidents, especially after Euromaidan. Like we've been helping them out. They've been, on the path to doing good things for themselves and being a reasonable ally for us. And now they're getting cooked by what we thought was going to be the second largest military or second most powerful military in the entire world. And yeah, we can help them with that. There's nothing wrong with that. All geopolitics is Machiavellian. Yeah, but like, you know what I mean? This isn't like, okay, well, you're our ally for the next 5 minutes. Like, this is someone that we've been working with for the past, like decade, You've been helping Ukraine since 1991? Yeah, but I mean, like, as closely as we have been the past 10 years is what I'm talking about, right? This isn't like we send, $100,000 to the Congo every year or some shit. This is, we have people on the ground advising them. We've got, our vice president over there saying, hey, you guys need to actually, like, root out the corruption or we're not going to give you as much aid. Like, we're actually, like, doing major moves over there, This isn't some small time, like third world country that we're just sending, a little bit of aid so that people don't starve to death. We're like over there helping them build institutions and we're just going to like throw that away because, people don't understand how geopolitics works. We're going to throw that away because we think Putin is more based than our own country. I don't know.
Willing to do that. He has made some statements implying that he will. But I am curious, do you think he's going to do that, Cenk?
Yeah, I do. And I think there's actually good news buried in this story. So I'll get to that in a second. First, just to correct some of Donald Trump's statements. So he said they fired into Russia. Then they brought in the North Koreans because of that. No, they're going to bring in the North Koreans whether they're fired into Russia or not.
No, the North Koreans were there first and then we let them fire into Russia. No, get your facts straight. Get the timeline correct. It was North Korea starts sending troops into Russia to kill Ukrainians, okay? And then we were like, well, if they're going to get like extra troops from North Korea, you guys can shoot into Russia finally, okay? I guess like we've been kneecapping you for long enough. Now they've got a bunch of Koreans there. I guess we can let you shoot some missiles. It was the other way around. It wasn't they didn't respond to Ukraine. They brought in the North Koreans. Yeah, I mean, I guess he's right. They were going to bring in the North Koreans whether or not Ukraine shot missiles in there, but it's because the North Koreans were there. We let them shoot missiles. Jesus.
That's kind of a Russian talking point. And then he's like, well, now the situation is different because they brought in the North Koreans. No, they were already there before the election and you were still saying day one. So, okay, so those are the things that he was not truthful about. But the good news is, look, there was one way to end it on day one.
Wait, I'm sorry, what is this? Trump shared this after the wildfire? Piss off Tinkerbell? Trump was right? Who is he talking? What does it mean Trump was right? Is this about the water table shit that everyone's arguing about? But respect your president? Well, hey, kind of a nice segue to if we go to my profile and we go to like 2 days ago. Man, what was the post that this guy got so mad about? Oh, okay. So the debate that we're ostensibly having, okay, is with the average debate enjoyer who we've tried to set stuff up before, but he just like never followed through with coming onto the stream. Now Wick is setting something up, but he's not actually responding to anything that we're saying, so I don't know if it's actually going to happen or not. Why is Grok popping up? I do not need a Grok button. But like Donald Trump can say shit like this, right? Like thousands of people have lost their homes. Like dozens, I think we're like over 24 people have lost their lives. And Trump can post memes about like, oh, look at California. They're so stupid and weak and liberal. And that's why they're all dying. LOL. Man, if they were maybe a little less feminine, like you see those takes all over Twitter. But me saying, you know, like, look at this. We were fighting toxic masculinity. I guess you guys can't see it because of the chat. Here, one sec. Where is, there we go. But we were fighting toxic masculinity. Next time, fight the fire, right? Like, they can make memes like that, but God forbid you make fun of Ashley Babbitt or the people affected by Hurricane Helene because, or the dude shot at the Trump rally. That's cruel and disgusting, politically biased behavior. You know, like that's just absolutely out of pocket, unbelievable, unconscionable, you know, jokes. But if it's happening to a liberal, then you can make as many jokes as you want. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't care. I don't care if people make jokes about these things. Like some of the memes after the Trump assassination were funny. Or assassination attempt. Sorry. Some of the memes around the Hurricane Helene stuff were funny. Some of these things can be funny. Some of the memes around the wildfire can be funny. But if you're going to sit there and cry like a little baby, okay? You're going to cry like a little baby when someone makes fun of, you know, shit that's going on in places that you agree with their politics. And then you're going to like be ultimately cruel to people who are also having the same thing happen in a place that they don't agree with your politics. Off, right? And I got into a big fight with that subhuman freak, Tyler, which I will apologize. He wants me to apologize. I will apologize to him when he gives me one good reason why what I said in this post is bad. But that's what our debate is about. I don't know why he hasn't responded to anything that I've said in our group chat with Wick. I don't know why he hasn't. I don't know if he has responded to Wick. But I'm going to tell him, Mr. Wick, that is. I'm going to tell him if he doesn't get back to us by the end of the day today. With some specific examples about how I am, you know, Mr. Evil, about how my political messaging is turning off the center, while he woke scolds me from the right about what jokes can and can't be made, or even when I'm saying political bias shouldn't play into whether you're making fun of people for dying in a wildfire. Yeah, until he can give me like a good reason why what I said there is bad, or provide me with examples on my Twitter that are like so egregious. Yeah, if he doesn't give me some examples of that, then we're not having the debate. I'm not going to sit there and just have someone scold me for being mean on Twitter while we try and make content for someone else's show. Anyways.
It was what I just said, which is that he could have said, hey, Ukrainians, we're outie. And so you got to give up your territory to the Russians. And I halfway expected him to do that. And so I'm a little bit pleasantly surprised that he hasn't done that he's bothering to negotiate over 6 months so he can get the Ukrainians a little bit better deal, we hope.
Oh my gosh.
That's not such a bad thing. It could have been much worse given what he said and given what his policy is. And finally, to answer the question that you asked, Anna, no, we're not going to send that much more money to Ukraine. I don't know if it's zero, but it's probably going to be near zero. And we're going to get out of that war. That was one of his top
we're not
promises.
In that war.
He can't go back on that, and he has no reason to go back on that. So the fact that he's not,
he does have a reason, because it would be bad for the United States if Russia is allowed to just do whatever the they want and like with us incessantly. with all of our allies incessantly. We do nothing to them back. That shit. I am so tired of the cry bullying from people with so much power. You don't get to sit there and cry that everyone is so mean to you while you literally bomb people to death. Okay? I mean, like, I would extend this to Israel. You don't get to say how mean everyone is to you while you continue to bomb the entirety of the Gaza Strip. That also doesn't mean that the Palestinians get to, cry bully after they do the, like, I'm tired of everyone acting like a victim. Jesus Christ. Can anybody take responsibility for anything anymore? Why is every single, like, here's my thing. I feel like every single like major world leader and every especially conservative leader is a loser. Look at Elon Musk. He's like doing the most loser behavior in the entire world. Do you get to act on the moral high ground when you have played a part in continuing the war? We're letting them defend themselves. War is not a moral evil in every single situation. If you're at war because you're defending yourself, you're fine. I don't give a all right? If you're the aggressor, then you're doing something immoral by invading someone. All right? That's my stance, and it always has been my stance. And you're actually incredibly politically biased. You have no values, and you have no smarts, and you have no brains, and you have no balls if you disagree with this. All right? If someone is getting attacked and they are our friend and they have been making good faith efforts to like show that they want to be like in our orbit, right? And then we just abandon them. We're immoral. All right? If you want to be our ally and we're going to, like say we're going to help you out and all this shit, and then someone comes in and tries to like you in the ass without any permission, okay? And then we say, oh, okay, well, here's a gun to shoot them with, right? Are we immoral because we gave the victim a gun to shoot the rapist? Insane.
Forcing the Ukrainians to a much larger surrender overall is good news.
One other thing that I'll give him credit for, because it is a departure from the thinking that we saw from the neocons, certainly during the Bush administration. If you can remember, Cenk, one of the slogans of the Bush administration was that they do not negotiate with terrorists. And so, look, unfortunately.
No, it's because you gave the victim a gun while the act is still being committed on them. Oh no, we have to let them get to completion before we can hand them a Glock? What is your response there, Zolo? Please enlighten me. Does the victim have to have the cum dripping out of their bleeding asshole before we can say, hey, you know what? No, you should go for the rapist? Oh, so you would support rather than, so what you're telling me right now is we should start a hot war with Russia rather than give Ukraine the ability to defend themselves. That's literally what you're telling me to do. And if peace happens and Russia keeps the territory, it'll be like forcing Ukraine to keep the baby? Yeah, exactly.